Empire.
Hello and welcome to my podcast. Do me a favor and subscribe to the John Keim Report wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're watching us on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you want to find us on YouTube, go to Empire Media. That's AMPIRE. It's always much appreciated. Today, I'm joined by former Washington Redskins tight end Donnie Warren, who recently retired from the organization as a scout. All total, he spent about 20 years with the franchise as a player and then as a scout, 2 different stints. He returned a couple years ago with Ron Rivera. I discuss with Donnie his playing time, his time under Joe Gibbs, what he felt with that Gibbs did great. And also we talk about this current roster. We do talk about, does Ron Rivera have too much on his plate as an executive and as a coach? And we go dissect the roster, what he likes about this tight ends class, why he's really excited about this tight ends group and the weapons they have, but the areas of concern that he has. He is not viewing this season and team through burgundy-colored glasses. One reminder as training camp begins on Wednesday. And first of all, there's going to be a Ron Rivera press conference on Tuesday after the conditioning test, and we'll have more news at that time. I do expect several players, or at least a few players, to open on the PUP list, including Chase Young, Logan Thomas, probably Chase Rouillet as well. None of that is official, so we'll see what happens. But one thing to note, I will be doing a daily report after every practice that's open to the media during training camp. So starting Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'm going to be having daily reports. They have an off day Sunday. I'll probably have a longer one Saturday so you can enjoy it on the off day. But again, after every practice, I will have that daily report both on the podcast and it'll be on YouTube as well. So look for that. But listen, I had a really good conversation with Donnie Warren. I think you're really going to enjoy it, and you're going to learn something not just about him. I even talked to him about his high school coaching days. But you're going to learn about this team as well. And again, he gives you good insight into why he thinks this tight end group is going to be good, why he likes the skill position groups, and why he's concerned, at least to some degree, about the defense. With that, here's my conversation with former Washington tight end Donnie Warren. All right, Donnie. Well, first of all, congrats on the retirement. And the funny thing is, I think when I got to know you first is when, I don't know if people remember this, when you were coaching high school ball over at Centerville as a baseball coach.
Yeah.
So, which was, and you had some good teams. You took a couple of state tournament runs, right? So
yeah. We had some good players rather than good coaches.
Well, and one of those guys was Will Montgomery, who later played for the Redskins.
Yeah, one of the guys was Will Montgomery, and then my son was also a big player on that team who went on to Virginia Tech, and it was kind of funny. They actually wanted him to play baseball and football, but Beamer wouldn't let him do it, so he concentrated on football.
Because that was obviously you're known for football, but when you're coaching baseball like that, what kind of a thrill is that for somebody who you won Super Bowls? You've done a lot as a pro and all that. How did that stack up that time?
Well, it's kind of interesting, John, because I played. That's all I played was baseball and football growing up, and so I knew quite a bit of baseball. Now, obviously, I went to a lot of camps to learn and get my baseball up to speed as far as coaching goes, but. That's the only thing. The only 2 sports I ever did. I wasn't all that good in basketball, so I was good in baseball and football, and so that just happened to work out. And it's kind of different because a lot of things correlate over. I think my competitiveness and everything else kind of the kids know my background, know where I come from, know how I was coached. And I think it kind of wear off on them a little bit.
Did you have a choice to make growing up about which direction you wanted to go, football or baseball?
No. It pretty much just the avenue went down the football line, and I actually went to a lot of people don't even, I went to a junior college first.
Right.
And then I had got a scholarship. I was offered by Pittsburgh and San Diego State and UCLA, but I only had 1 year to play 1 year because I stayed out of football. So I had to go to an independent school basically to get 2 years. So I decided on San Diego State, and things worked out great.
Things worked out pretty well. So and I want to get back to some of the career stuff, but as far as retiring now, why now?
Well, why not?
Yeah.
I've been doing this. Football is, John, you know this. We go back a long ways too. Football is the only thing I know. And I played 14 years in the league, 17 years scouting. And it just got to a point where, I'm 66 years old. And I've seen some people around me, some of my friends are starting to pass away,
Right.
And I just didn't want to get caught in, my brother passed away at 72.
Oh.
So I didn't want to get to a point where I worked, until I was 68. And then I, retire and I get 2 years and something fatal happens.
Right. Right.
So I just wanted to enjoy life a little bit, and
So
I think I deserve it.
Oh, absolutely. And was it hard though? Because this is, you are so used to this game and this lifestyle and all that. Was it hard to come to that decision for you?
It wasn't easy, that's for sure. And it was kind of it's kind of funny. Like I'm not even going to go into the whole story, but Pete, the tight end coach, he actually walked in and retired a couple of days after me. I had actually told some people, and we decided it would be best if I just left it until after the draft. And so, that's what worked out the best. I didn't want to get involved in, with a lot of that, draft stuff as far as, making people find replacements for me, while all the draft stuff was going on.
So what was, when you think about walking away though, like what kind of things go through your mind? Because again, especially with this organization, you're tied to it as a player with so much success, and you're back here a couple different times. What is it the hardest thing to give up?
The hardest thing, and everybody always says it, the hardest thing for me to give up is all the relationships, the people that obviously a lot of the people that are there at Washington now, they were all down in Carolina. So I pretty much knew them for 7 to 9 years, some people 9 years. And Marty Herney, I knew the whole time. Marty was actually the guy that brought me down to Carolina. And Ron, I've known for a long time, not only his playing days, but, just when he came to Carolina, he did such a good job down there. It was an easy decision for me to come back up here.
And this might be a silly question, but like, you are drawn to football. What is it that drew you so much to football?
I just loved the competitive atmosphere about it. And it wasn't like golf where, all eyes are on you. It was the team aspect of it. And how, I can remember Joe Gibbs, just saying the little tiny things, like if everybody takes care of their own job, we're going to be successful and be a winner, and you really saw that, especially back in the day. Like, I'm still friends with all these guys, and I do Wordle with Russ every morning, And we still talk, and we were such a family back then that the football aspect of just being a team, and you say it's kind of corny, but it really is. It's a family and team atmosphere, and that's just what I liked about it. I love competition. If you talk to my wife, talk to my grandkids, they'll tell you Pop's a fierce competitor.
So when you and Russ do Wordle, like, how competitive does it get?
What's that?
How competitive does it get with you and Russ in Wordle?
Oh, it gets pretty competitive. I've actually said that he's a cheater before, because he got the word in like two, and only one letter came up, the first time. So I've said, you got to be cheating, but so obviously he fires back at me, but we're still so close. All the guys, Jake and Bazo and everybody, we're really close.
I talked to Jake a couple weeks ago, and he said that you guys met up in Mexico a few weeks ago.
Yeah, we went to Russ invited us down to his place in Cabo, and what a just relaxing, great time that we had down there. We took, everybody had their wives there, and obviously the wives are still real close too, and so everything just it was such a relaxing week. We were actually there a week. A lot of drinking though.
Really?
Surprisingly, there was a lot of drinking, but still we had a lot of fun.
Can guys get as close, and not to play the back in my day thing, but because of free agency and there's a lot more movement, can guys develop that kind of bond like you guys had? Can you still be done like that?
That's a great question. I'm telling you right now, I've been in these, obviously I've worked as a scout, and I've actually told some people that I honestly feel that maybe the players nowadays, I mean, we used to actually, we'd come to we'd lift weights, come to practice, spend times in meetings, and then we'd go out and have a couple of drinks. I don't know what everybody does nowadays, but I guarantee you, I would pretty much say that it's hard to imagine that they would do anything else but just go home and treat this as a job, because we actually treated it as a job. But I'm telling you right now, we were so close to everybody's family, knew Jake's daughters, knew Russ's sons. I mean, we were out there battling,
Right.
And there was some battles, trust me. And the closer you are to those people, and like Coach Gibbs once said, everybody take care of their own job. That's what we did, but we were close. We were real close.
What was it like for you playing for Gibbs? How did he push you?
It was pretty amazing, because I was always leery I was going to get cut.
Right.
They drafted me in the fourth round. It wasn't Joe Gibbs, but the Washington first drafted me in the fourth round in 1979. Gibbs came 2 years later, and he was just the guy. And you actually saw it by his work ethic. I mean, there was no stone unturned with this guy. They would be up till, Rennie would tell me, Rennie Simmons, who was the tight end coach, he'd tell me, we were up till 6:30 in the morning, and the last 2 hours were on one protection, And I can honestly say that in all my years of playing, I never, well, maybe one time, and that's because the Chicago Bears pulled the 61 Bear defense on us. I don't know if people remember that. And they pulled that on us at RFK, and it was the very first time anybody had seen the defense.
Right.
And that's the only time ever in the NFL that I was not ready to play football on any given Sunday. We were so well prepared by that dude. He was amazing.
I think I remember you one time, correct me if I'm wrong, but one time I thought you told me that in all your years playing, he rarely told you, hey, good game. And you were like, don't you think that pushed me to always try harder?
That's true. That's true. Very seldom would he come up, and there was times where I thought, man, I played a damn good game. Because I could actually go back and I could actually, after a game, I could get up the next morning and I could say, wow, I messed up this one pass pro and I had 4 run blocks that I kind of screwed up, and I could tell you every play that I messed up. And what I always strived for was perfection. And I had one game and I was in St. Louis, and I'll never forget it. We were playing the Cardinals in St. Louis, and I had one mistake. So that's what I wanted to achieve and try to get was, no mistakes in any game, and I don't think I ever did it.
How'd that help you in scouting? How'd that approach help you there?
I just think that, that it shows you a little bit about my personality and my heart I love to find players, out on the beaten path. We weren't out that much because I was a pro scout. The college scouts do most of that with the younger guys, but just watching film and just, trying to be as accurate as I could be, finding players. And there's little things that you look for in looking for players that I think you can actually, see guys crawling on their knees to a second block, or, just little things that can tell you how much what they have right here in their heart, and let's face it, this game, if this thing was all about talent, I'd have been gone a long time ago, but a lot of it is in your heart, and you need a lot of guys like that on a football team.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So it's pretty, it's a humbling game. It's a very humbling game. At the same time, it's very exciting, with all the Super Bowls and the playoff games. And, I played in 96 games, and, I probably played in another 20 playoff games at least, So there's football is a very, very exciting game, and there's something about it that, it's a great football game.
It is. And are there some guys that you kind of felt I don't know about discovered, but that you recommended? They're like, I really like this guy, and he went on to do good things. Anybody in particular?
Not really. Most of them were backup guys, special teams guys, mostly a lot of guys down in Carolina, but no specific big name guys really,
When you look at this current team, because you know them well too, what are the things that you like about this group?
Well, they've changed a little bit but I'm going to tell you right now, I really, really, I think the offense has really upgraded itself. I've told some people this, Russ and Jake and all of us talked in Cabo, this wide receiver group with Dotson and De'Ami Brown and McLaren and everybody. If Curtis is healthy, Curtis can flat out run, and he's going to make it easier for these tight ends. Not only do I like the wide receiver group that's involved right now, but I think, and I've actually told some of the guys, I think this tight end group is probably the best 1 to 5 that I've been involved with as far as scouting
Really?
in the NFL in 17 years. So I think
1 to 5. So that's like Hodges and Rogers included in that group?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, that's everybody. That's everybody in that Cole Turner.
Yeah.
Cole Turner is going to be a hell of a player.
Why do you say that?
His size. He's not going to be a blocker.
Right.
He's not going to be a blocker, but this kid can run. He has solid hands. I mean, solid hands. He's a good route runner. He's a lot better route runner than I thought he was on film when I first kind of watched him in college. But you throw the ball anywhere around this cat, he's going to come down with it. I mean, he's got excellent, excellent hands, and he's a big, big target. The Hodges kid, Bates. I love Bates.
He's your kind of guy.
This kid, and I've been in his ear. He has a chance to be one of the top blocking tight ends in the NFL.
Why is he such a good blocker?
He's just, number one is his footwork. I mean, his footwork is. I told him when I called him in, and this is last year, and I asked Gibbs, and I said, "Hey, you mind if I talk to him?" He said, "No, go ahead." I called him in my office. I said, "Dude," I said, "I don't know who your tight end coach is, but unbelievable teacher. He's done a hell of a job with you as far as teaching footwork, hand placement, throwing your arms. He's a throwback as far as, footwork, hand placement, coming off low, trying to drive people off the ball. A lot of tight ends, and I've been watching it for a couple of years, and I'm going to say for 17 years, and a lot of tight ends, they just can't do it. They can't make themselves do it. And this kid will stick his head in there, and he will block you and try to take you off the ball.
You brought up like Hodges and Rogers too, and I've heard good things about them.
Hodges, I think I watched a lot of film on him in college. Even though we're pro scouts, we get asked to watch some tight end people, and Hodges, that kid is huge, and he's got a big wingspan, and he can catch too. He's a good route runner. He can run a little bit, but the thing that kind of intrigues me a little bit about Hodges is he's not at Arizona State. He's not as scared to block.
Right.
And he'll mix it up a little bit with the defenders, and he'll try to throw his face in there and block a little bit. And that's what I like about him. He's just a good all-around guy like Bates, and then you got, like I said, your Cole Turner, and that's to add to Logan.
Right, yeah.
I mean, if Logan comes back, it's scary. Yeah. It really is.
with the receiver group, what did you see? Because I like Dotson, I thought was terrific in the spring, and I like watching what he did at Penn State. What do you see that says like this group could be really good?
Well, you mentioned the guy that I'm excited about, Dotson. I think the guy has, if you just watch him and you watch him run routes, he's not a big guy.
No.
He runs routes well, comes back to the football, probably as good as anybody I've seen since Steve Smith. Mm-hmm. I mean, Steve Smith was excellent at coming back to the football, and this dude will also come back to the football. And when you watch Dotson in practice, when the ball's thrown to him, you can't even hear the ball hit his hands. And that tells you right there that he has got a smooth set of hands, great route runner, and you can throw it any way. He's got a good even with his size,
he plays bigger.
He plays a lot bigger, just like you said, than his size. You know, he'll go up and get it. He'll fight for the ball, and he can run. The cat can run too. So, I mean, there's 2 or 3 deep threats. I would love to be a freaking tight end or a running back, you know, right now on this offense, because they're going to be picking apart the people underneath.
Right, and that's one thing that I know they want to attack Verto. What'd you see from Carson Wentz? I mean, obviously we all know the story with him. What'd you see from him, and did you learn anything about him this spring when you were able to watch?
You know, I just pulled like 7 game films, and obviously most of them were from the start of the year, and everybody said, oh, he got COVID, and that's when, you know, he fell off on his, you know, when they went to the playoffs, he missed 10 days. I'm just assuming I'm right, because this is what I was told by everybody. I watched 7 games on this guy, and from what I saw, I'm telling you right now, I'm excited. I'm very excited about him because everybody talks about Indy's offensive line, about how good they are. Well, check out how good they are in pass protection.
It wasn't very good when I watched.
Well, they're number 30th.
Right.
As far as at the end of the league, they were 30th in the league in pass pro. Carson Wentz, if you pull out game film, that dude was getting hit almost every time he delivered the football downfield. And that starts to wear on your ass, you know. Their offense is a lot different than Scott Turner's offense in that he had to call protections out and then go to, you know, what he wanted to do. Here, Scott Turner's and North Turner's offense, he doesn't have to do that. The offensive line and the tailbacks and the tight ends handle everything. He doesn't have to do anything other than relax, read, and throw. And some of the balls, I wasn't even there at the very last part, you know, because I retired in June 1st. And from what I saw with his deep balls, that dude, he can throw. He can throw, you know. So if he gets protected half as good as he did, you know, in Indy, because Indy, he got horrible pass pro. I think this kid is going to have a playoff year. I think he's going to be pretty damn good. So I could be wrong, but I think he's pretty damn good.
They lost Sheriff. They replaced Flowers. Can this line give him that? What do you think about this line?
I think the line is fine. I think Norwell is we had him down in Carolina. He's a little on the stiff side, but he is, you've seen him. He's a huge big, strong dude that if he gets his hands on you, you're screwed. You know, so Norwell's going to do just fine, and he's so big to get around in pass pro that it's hard to get around his butt, and you're not pushing him back. You know, if Chase is the one that I'm worried about at center, if he can just get back, because he looked like he was lagging behind a little bit when you look at, you know, Logan Thomas and everybody.
Right. With the recoveries,
you know, he was kind of lagging back a little bit. So I'm just hoping on him. Otherwise, your two tackles, you know, I love the two tackles they got in there right now. And then Lucas could probably start on Cornelius Lucas could probably start on at least 5-6 teams in the NFL. So he's an excellent backup, you know. So
this is year 3 for Ron. You know Ron very well. What are you expecting? And, you know, do you feel like this team is in position to take that step?
The only thing that concerns me about first, I'm going to talk about Ron. I love the guy. I think he is the right man for the job. My only thing on Ron is I think he kind of walked in and he's kind of biting off more than he can chew. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I mean, he's handling a lot of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of stuff has happened.
And a lot of stuff has also been behind the scenes, as well as stuff that, you know, players, you know, him making a decision on players and stuff like that. I wish he would he's got some good personnel guys in there. And Ron's always been, even in Carolina, he's been, you know, him and Marty kind of worked it out, you know, together. But it seems like it's a lot more here. Just to me, in my short time I was here, in the couple of years I was here, but there's just been so much on his plate that he's had to try to battle, and a head coach has got enough to worry about in football rather than everything else. You just wish that you know, he could get away from the other stuff and just concentrate on football. And he's your man. I'm telling you right now, he's the guy you want at the helm, directing these guys to try to win a championship, because he's a good coach. You know that. I've talked to you about him before.
Yep. Yeah, and I know, like, I'll get 2 more. Why do you like him so much as a coach? And then 2, what are your expectations for the team this year?
I just like him as a coach because, number one, I think, and this is just my opinion, even though, like, you know, Joe Gibbs was such a great coach, but he did not play the game.
Right.
Ron has played the game, and I think players look up to him. I'm not saying we didn't look up to Joe Gibbs, because we did.
Of course.
Trust me. But I just think it's a little easier because what he fires out of his mouth, people believe him, and they should believe him because he's played the game and coached the game for a long time.
So, and your expectations for this team this year, do they take
my expectations for this team? And I actually told one of the guys that I had seen about a week ago, I think they're going to go 10-7.
Okay.
And I would probably say more than that if I was a little bit more convinced on the defensive side of the ball. Mm-hmm. But I think the offense might have the ball so much that the defense might be just fine to fend off good teams. You know what I'm saying?
And what's your concern on the defense?
Well, my concern on the defense is obviously, they play about 80% nickel, so you only need 2 linebackers. But
right. As
far as depth, there's a depth problem, I think, at linebacker. Safety and corner are a little concerning to me, just a little. Jackson, I don't think played up to what he's
right.
capable
right.
of playing to.
I think he'd say that too.
And a lot of it was, I think he was asked to do something that he just is not real good at.
Right.
And that's playing zone.
Right.
So and he'll get better at it.
Yeah.
He will get better at it. And the defensive line, you also have, Chase has to come back.
Right.
And he's got to have a good year.
Yeah.
I mean, it can't be a second year like he had. It's got to be a good year, or this defense, I mean, you lost some great depth in a couple of guys up front.
Yeah, and I think Chase will come back and do well, but we have to see it.
Yeah. And I mean, you cannot fake his competitiveness. He is a competitor, and he's the type of guy that'll give you 60 minutes. There's very few that I ever lined up across from that I can honestly say, hey, this guy gave me 60 minutes of football. And there were some guys that gave me, 65 minutes of football. I mean, when I was at halftime, I was struggling. So there's a lot of Chase Young that we need to see back on that field for that defense to become a big league caliber defense.
Donnie, I kept you way longer than I told you I would. I apologize, but it was great, and it was good to catch up with you, and congratulations on a really great football career. Good luck.
John, I appreciate it. I appreciate all the stuff you've done for me, man.
It was fun.
Just always staying in touch. Maybe some point in time, if you ever want to look at some film, I know you've asked me before.
Yes.
You've asked me before, but if there's any point in time you want to do some film work, then let's do it.
I would love that. I would love that. I will take you up on that because I like doing that because it's how you learn. So I appreciate that.
All right, man. All
Donnie,
right.
thanks a lot. I appreciate it, man.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
That's it for this episode. Thanks to Donnie Warren for joining me, and thank you, as always, for listening. I will be back on Wednesday afternoon with our first practice report from training camp. Talk to you next time.